Hello, welcome back to my channel. I had a bit of an incident, let's call it that, with a drill in my thumb, my right thumb. So I'm doing the simplest pin on my board today. It sounds worse than it is, but I've got a thumb that's not quite working as well as what it should, and it's quite tender. So we're turning our attention to some paperclip embellishments. I think if you ask 100 crafters about paperclip embellishments, you'll get 100 answers, from the simplest sort of banner, wrapping the paper around, embellishing, to very elaborate wrapping fabric around it and then using that bit as a dangle, to just wrapping some, what have we got, like fabric bits and pieces around it to make a bow or a pom-pom or something like that. I mean, obviously it needs to be finished, but this is what I'm talking about, something like that. So today I'm turning my attention to buttons. I love buttons and I love vintage buttons, but I very often use the flat ones. So the ones that get left over are the ones with the little hoops. So when I saw this pin, I thought, am I nuts for never having thought of it? It's very simple. You take your paper clip. You need to have it that the double loop is at the bottom, and you hook your button onto your paper clip to the top, and it sits flat, and you glue it. Easy as that. So let me just show you what they want you to do once you glue it. So the pin asks for a dot of hot glue just to keep it in place so that it doesn't keep on moving on the clip. And then it suggests finishing it off in felt. I've got felt, but I actually think something like, you get these lace in the strips, something like that. We'll probably finish it off a bit neater. I didn't put enough glue now, because then you can use it on both sides. So to show you on a page, that's how it sits, easy as that. So let's make a couple with different backings and different size paper clips and different size buttons. So that's in. If your button happens to have a picture or a design, just make sure that it's positioned. This one doesn't matter. And then I've cut a little block of felt. I don't have the greatest colors, but this will do. It's like an antique brown. And then lots of glue with my finger that doesn't want to work. And then squish. This is now only roughly cut to size. There's going to be some glue squishing out, but you can just pull that off later. And then the tutorial says to cut it to size around, so you just follow the button. And then it suggests a match to seal it, so let's do that. I've lit a little tea candle because I have them around for wax sealing in any case. So it's just holding, and you'll see the felt sort of pulls in and it smooths the fluffies. Just be careful not to burn yourself or the button. I'm going to show you how it looks now. And you're not really near the flame. It's like 2 centimeters off, And can you see it finishes it very, very neatly. And that is how you make a decorative paperclip. Keep in mind I'm showing this with a standard embellished paperclip. That one goes to the edge of the hoop. This one will stick out because it's got something now. And then if you've used it on a page, so maybe on the top of a page will be quite nice. What you see on the back is just that. But I mean, you could probably just embellish that even. But it's very neat once you've burnt the felt, singed the felt. When you are selecting buttons and paper clips, just keep scale in mind. Like this one, the color match between the button and the paper clip's good, but the paper clip's too big for the button, whereas the slightly bigger button on a smaller paper clip looks fine. This one is a much better fit scale wise. The last button that I want to try is the one with a channel rather than a hoop. So I just want to see if that has the same effect. You can't get it round. Yeah, you can, but then you can't get it flat. Okay, so that won't work because you end up with a lopsided one. So don't use those buttons. And then I just want to see if you can do it on a paper clip that's already a novelty, like this one's a teardrop. Not that you would necessarily want to dress these paper clips up, but just to see if you could. Yeah, that works fine. That's actually quite cute. So I think it depends on the button and the sort of paper clip. This is like it would have been on a neck or a collar or something, little pull. I want to see if that does okay, because this is a much more pronounced hoop on a paper clip. That's okay, but the hoop's very pronounced, so I think for a button like that, using it as a dangle would almost be better, in which case, remember the dangle is in at the, where am I on the camera? On the bottom of the two hoops, so on a page, it would look like that. It adds a tiny little detail. It's actually quite nice, and I mean anything it can hook would be good with that. Okay, something else I want to try is I've got a gold stays on re-inker, and this is also an alcohol ink and a cranberry. They're specifically for glossy surfaces. I just want to see if you can gold the paperclip, because like this gold button, I wouldn't necessarily want to use a silver paperclip. I've just put a little bit on a lid, and I'm just going to hold it with I don't know how much you'd need to make it gold and whether it will stay gold. But this is what we're here for, to experiment. The alcohol inks worked quite well, so this is just dragging it through. You can see there's still some silver visible, but I mean it's stuck. The paper clip is coloured. This is with the stays on the plastic coated paper clip. Again, it stayed, so you don't have a white paper clip anymore. And then this is with the stays on a big silver paper clip. So I mean it's not the smoothest finish. I'm guessing if you painted it on it would be fine, but it's the top layer is rubbing off because it's still wet, but the clip is gold. So if you now did the gold button, that looks much better than on the silver paper clip. Okay, so that was the world's shortest tutorial. The other thing to note is anything synthetic will singe. Just be careful. See, that's burnt as opposed to singed. So that's like an offcut, like a velvety chenille. It doesn't go as neatly as the felt. And then the other thing that you must keep in mind, when you do your felt to singe, don't cut it too close to the button. Do you see the top is where it singed and it shrunk in, so now you see a bird of the button. But all in all, it's quite a neat effect. And then these two, this one I did with paper that I singed, and I put the lace piece over, and this one's exactly the same button, but I did just the lace piece. Do you see it's unfinished? So a paper backing with a piece of lace also looks really nice on these. The same concept of the button also works with a hairpin, a bobby pin, so you could do the same. And that also works as a very nice looking paper type clip on the page, embellished the same way as you would the paper clip. Also keep in mind, you can double embellish, so the button at the top, and you can still hook something on the bottom, or in this case the button's quite plain, I just hooked in a piece of lace. So don't think that you can't still go wild. This one I did the wrong way around, so the button ended up with the two loops, but you can still use it, so that's also not a big deal. But it adds a really nice little touch on cards, and tucking things in, embellishments, that sort of thing. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.